Captain Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty and watched the stars. He had been in space for 20 years, but today felt different. Today, humanity would meet aliens for the first time. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Amy Johnson from her communications post. Her voice was excited but nervous. "It's not like anything we've seen before." Jake walked over to her station. The screen showed strange symbols moving across it like dancing lights. "Can you understand it?" Amy shook her head. "Not yet, but the computer is working on it. Wait. I think it's trying to learn our language." Dr. Lisa Roberts looked up from her science station. She was the smartest person Jake knew, and if anyone could figure out alien technology, it was her. "The signal is incredibly advanced," she said. "Whoever sent this is far ahead of us in technology." Jake felt his stomach tighten. Advanced aliens could be good news or very bad news. "Keep working on it, Amy. Let me know the moment you can talk to them." 3 hours later, Amy called out, "Captain, I've got it. The signal is clear now." The main screen flickered and changed. Suddenly, they were looking at an alien face. The creature had purple skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. It wore what looked like a military uniform covered in medals and symbols. "Greetings, primitive beings," the alien said. Its voice was cold and proud. "I am High Commander Zephyrian Colvex of the Galactic Empire. You have entered our space without permission." Jake stepped forward. He had trained for this moment, but his heart was beating fast. "I am Captain Jake Harrison of the human vessel USS Liberty. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations." The alien's 4 eyes looked at Jake like he was an insect. "Peace? You speak of peace to the Galactic Empire? We have ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We do not make friends with primitives." Dr. Roberts whispered to Jake, "Be careful. His attitude suggests they see us as inferior." Jake kept his voice calm and respectful. "We understand you are more advanced than us. We only ask for the chance to prove that humans can be good neighbors in the galaxy." High Commander Colvex laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Neighbors? You will be subjects. The Empire does not permit independent species to exist in our territory. You will submit to imperial rule, pay tribute, and serve the Empire. This is not a request." The words hit Jake like a punch to the gut. "Sir, humanity has just begun to explore space. We have done nothing wrong. Surely we can find a peaceful solution." "Wrong?" The alien's voice became angry. "Your very existence without imperial permission is wrong. Your ships in our space are wrong. Your refusal to immediately submit is wrong." Amy looked scared. Dr. Roberts was recording everything. Jake knew this conversation would be studied by every leader on Earth. He had to be careful with his words. "Hi, Commander, I do not have the authority to make such important decisions for my species. I would need to return to Earth and speak with our leaders. Could you give us time to consider your offer?" The alien's eyes narrowed. "Time? You dare ask. The Empire to wait? Your arrogance is typical of lesser species." He leaned forward on his screen. "Very well. You have one of your months to discuss submission. But know this, the Empire's patience has limits." "Thank you for your understanding," Jake said, trying to keep the peace. "Do not mistake mercy for weakness," Colvex warned. "To show you the Empire's power, we will destroy one of your installations. Consider it a gentle reminder of what happens to those who defy us." The screen went black. Jake stood in silence for a moment, then turned to his crew. "Amy, send everything to Earth immediately. Dr. Roberts, I need your full analysis of their technology. Everyone else, prepare for emergency departure." "Captain," Dr. Roberts said quietly, "their ship is massive. I estimate it's 50 times larger than ours. Their energy signatures are off the charts. How bad is it? Jake asked. If they wanted to destroy us right now, we couldn't stop them, she replied. But Jake, I noticed something interesting. Their technology is advanced, but it follows patterns we can understand. Given time, we might be able to learn from it. 2 days later, as the USS Liberty raced back to Earth, they received terrible news. The aliens had destroyed the research station on Titan's moon. 15 scientists had been working there. The Empire had vaporized the entire facility in seconds. The aliens had made one mistake. They left the area thinking the station was empty. They didn't know that Dr. Roberts had hidden sensors throughout the system. Those sensors recorded everything about the alien weapon and their ship's technology. When Jake arrived at Earth, he found the planet in chaos. Admiral Kevin Thompson met him at the space station above Earth. The old soldier looked tired and worried. How bad is it, Jake? Thompson asked. Bad, Jake replied honestly. They see us as insects to be stepped on. But Lisa found something. We might have a chance if we're smart about it. Dr. Roberts joined them with a tablet full of data. Admiral, their technology is powerful, but it's also predictable. They've been the strongest in the galaxy for so long that they've become lazy. They don't expect resistance. Thompson studied the data. What are you saying? I'm saying they expect us to fight like other aliens they've conquered, Roberts explained. But humans don't fight like other species. We adapt. We improvise. We never give up. Jake nodded. They gave us a month to surrender. I think we should use that time to prepare for war. Admiral Thompson was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. Grimly, Colonel Dan Wright has been waiting for years to test his new defense plans. President Patricia Moore has already declared a state of emergency. The Empire wants to see what humans do when cornered. He looked out at Earth, beautiful and blue below them. They're about to find out. As Jake watched Earth turn slowly in space, he thought about the aliens' words. The Empire ruled the galaxy through fear and superior technology. They had conquered countless worlds and species. They expected humans to be just another easy victory. They were wrong. Humans had something the Empire didn't understand. When pushed to the wall, humans didn't surrender. They fought back. And sometimes that made all the difference. The war was coming. Earth had 1 month to prepare. It would have to be enough. President Patricia Moore stood in the White House Situation Room, looking at screens showing military bases around the world. Every base was busy with activity. Soldiers were training, scientists were working, and engineers were building new weapons. Earth had never moved so fast. Report, she said to the room full of generals and advisors. Colonel Dan Wright stepped forward. He was a thin man with sharp eyes who had spent years thinking about how to defend Earth from alien attack. Most people had thought he was crazy. Now he looked like a genius. Madam President, Operation Defiance is ahead of schedule, Wright said. We've activated all defense protocols. Every military unit on Earth and in space is preparing for combat. General Susan Blake, the head of the Army, added, Our ground forces are ready. We've moved mobile defense units to protect major cities. If the aliens try to land troops, they'll face resistance at every turn. Moore nodded. What about our space forces? Admiral Thompson appeared on a video screen from the orbital defense station. We're outnumbered, but we have advantages. Our ships are smaller and faster than theirs. Commander Rick Davis has been working miracles with new technology. In a secret facility under the Rocky Mountains, Commander Davis was indeed working miracles. He was an engineer who understood alien technology better than anyone except Dr. Roberts. The facility around him buzzed with activity as hundreds of scientists and workers built humanity's new weapons. The energy shield generator is ready for testing, said Chief Engineer Paul Miller. He was covered in grease and had been working for 3 days straight. Davis looked at the device. It was smaller than a car, but contained technology that shouldn't exist on Earth. Based on Dr. Roberts' analysis of the alien ship? Exactly, Miller replied. We reverse-engineered their shield system. It's not as powerful as theirs, but it should stop their basic weapons. Across the facility, other teams were working on different projects. Maria Santos led a group building new missiles that could change direction in space. Tony Baker worked with pilots to develop new flying techniques. Every person in the facility knew that humanity's survival might depend on their work. Captain Steve Parker was in charge of evacuating civilians from major cities. It was a huge job, but people were cooperating better than he had ever seen. Everyone knew what was at stake. Sir, we've moved 2 million people from New York to safety zones, reported his assistant. Los Angeles, Tokyo, and London are almost empty too. Parker nodded grimly. Good. If the aliens attack our cities, at least fewer people will die. But not everyone was running away. In a training camp in Texas, retired Marine Colonel Chris Johnson was teaching ordinary people how to fight aliens. Volunteers came from every walk of life: teachers, doctors, farmers, students. They all had one thing in common. They refused to surrender. Remember, Johnson told a group of trainees, the aliens are bigger and stronger than us. But they don't know how humans think. They expect us to fight in formation like armies. Instead, we'll hit them when they don't expect it and disappear before they can fight back. A young woman raised her hand. Colonel, what if their technology is too advanced for us to hurt them? Johnson smiled. Then we get creative. Humans have always been good at finding ways to hurt things that are bigger than us. We'll figure it out. Meanwhile, Agent Nicole Davis was coordinating with human colonies on other worlds. Most people didn't know that humans had secret settlements on 12 different planets. These colonies were small and hidden, but they could help if Earth fell. The Mars colony is ready, she reported to Director Helen Walsh. They have supplies and weapons hidden underground. The Europa mining station is also prepared for guerrilla warfare. Walsh studied the reports. What about the outer colonies? They're our ace in the hole, Davis replied. If Earth is conquered, the aliens will think they've won. They won't expect attacks from colonies they don't know exist. In space, Captain Emma Gray was testing humanity's newest warship, the USS Defiant. It was built using a combination of human and alien technology. The ship was faster than anything humans had ever built, and its weapons were designed to punch holes in alien armor. How does she handle? Asked Lieutenant Baker from the pilot's seat. Like a dream, Gray replied. The alien technology gives us speed we never had before. But I'm worried about the untested systems. We might get one good fight out of this ship before something breaks. Dr. Roberts, now working aboard the command ship USS Constitution, was studying everything the aliens had sent them. Every word, every image, every piece of data was important. I've found something interesting, she told Captain Alex Turner. The aliens are arrogant. They told us exactly how powerful they are because they want us to be afraid. But they also revealed weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? Turner asked. Their ships are heavily armored, but slow to turn. Their weapons are powerful, but take time to recharge. Most importantly, they think in straight lines. They expect enemies to fight the way they do. Roberts pulled up a display showing the alien ship. See how their weapons are mounted? They're designed for long-range battles against other large ships. They're not built to fight small, fast targets that get close. Turner studied the data. So if we can get inside their weapon range, ... Exactly. But it would be suicide for most. Of our ships. We'd need pilots crazy enough to fly directly at ships 50 times larger than ours. Turner grinned. Lady, you just described every fighter pilot in the Space Force. As the weeks passed, Earth changed. Factories that had made cars now made weapons. Computer programmers wrote software to hack alien systems. Even children helped by growing food in school gardens. So farmers could join the military. Technical specialist Roy Edwards was one of the programmers. He had studied the alien communication signals and found something amazing. Their computer systems use mathematical principles similar to ours. He told his team, I think I can write a virus that will confuse their targeting computers. Commander, Bill Foster was working on an even bigger project. He was turning the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter into a weapon. Mining charges that had been used to break up rocks for metal were being repurposed as space mines. If we can control... When these charges explode, Foster explained to his engineers, we can create debris fields that will damage alien ships. It won't stop them, but it might slow them down. Captain Linda Brown was training fighter pilots for the coming battle. Her pilots would fly the smallest, fastest ships humanity had, dodging between alien weapons to attack weak spots. Remember, she told her squadron, we're not trying to destroy their ships in a fair fight. We're trying to damage them and escape. Hit and run. Strike fast, strike hard, and get out alive. As the month neared its end, long-range sensors detected alien ships approaching the solar system. The Empire was sending a fleet to punish humanity for not surrendering. Admiral Thompson called a final meeting of all military commanders. Room was full of Earth's best soldiers, pilots, and strategists. The aliens are coming, he said simply. Intelligence suggests about 50 ships, more than enough to destroy everything we have in space and bomb Earth into submission. The room was silent. 50 alien ships against humanity's small space fleet seemed impossible odds. Thompson continued, but they're making the same mistake every bully makes. They think bigger means better. They think more advanced means unbeatable. They're about to learn that humans don't fight fair. Colonel Wright stood up. All units are in position. Ground defenses are ready. Space forces are prepared for hit-and-run attacks. Civilian populations are safe. The aliens gave us a month to surrender, Thompson said. Instead, we used that month to prepare for war. When they arrive, they're expecting to find scared primitives begging for mercy. He looked around the room at the faces of Earth's defenders. Instead, they're going to find humans. And humans don't surrender. Outside the meeting room, Earth continued to prepare. The planet had become a fortress, but more than that, it had become unified in a way it had never been before. Every person on Earth knew that the next few days would decide humanity's future. The Empire was coming. Earth was ready. The real question was whether the Empire was ready for humanity. The alien ships appeared at the edge of the solar system like dark clouds blocking out the stars. Sub-Commander Zorketh sat in his command chair aboard the Imperial flagship and smiled with satisfaction. 50 of the Empire's finest warships. Against primitive humans would make this the easiest conquest of his career. Report, he ordered his weapons officer. Sir, we detect approximately 30 human vessels spread throughout their system. Their largest ship is less than 1/10 the size of our smallest destroyer. Zorketh laughed. 30 ships? The High Commander sent 50 Imperial vessels to deal with 30 human toys? This is insulting to our capabilities. His communications. Officer looked up. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human command. Put it through. Let's hear them beg. The screen flickered, showing Admiral Thompson sitting calmly in his command chair. The human looked older than Zorketh had expected, with gray hair and tired eyes. But there was something in those eyes that didn't look like fear. Sub-Commander Zorketh, Thompson said politely. I am Admiral Kevin Thompson of Earth Defense Command. Admiral? Zorketh sneered. How quaint. You give yourselves military titles as if you are a real fighting force. Thompson's expression didn't change. I'm calling to offer you one final chance to withdraw from our system peacefully. The alien bridge crew burst into laughter. Zorketh wiped tears from his eyes. You're offering us a chance to withdraw? Human, you have 30 small ships against 50 Imperial warships. Each of our vessels could destroy your entire fleet. We warned your High Commander not to push us, Thompson replied quietly. I'm extending the same warning to you. Warnings? Zorketh stood up angrily. I will show you what happens to species that threaten the Empire. He turned to his weapons officer. Destroy 3 of their ships. Let them see what real power looks like. The Imperial weapons fired beams of energy that could cut through a planet's crust. 3 human ships exploded instantly. Bright flashes in the darkness of space. Thompson watched his ships die without changing expression. You just killed 90 brave men and women. And I'll kill more until you surrender, Zorketh replied. Submit now, or watch your entire species burn. Thompson was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke words that would be remembered throughout the galaxy. We warned you not to push us. Now you'll learn why. The screen went black. Zorketh settled back in his chair. Begin the advance. Destroy any ship that resists. We'll be home in time for dinner. The Imperial fleet moved forward in perfect formation, their massive ships gleaming with armor and bristling with weapons. They expected the human ships to either run away or die quickly. They got neither. As the aliens passed through the asteroid belt, Commander Bill Foster sat in a hidden control station on a large asteroid. He watched the alien ships move between, the floating rocks like metal giants walking through a garden. All charges are in position, reported his engineer. Waiting for your command. Foster watched the alien formation on his screen. The ships were so confident that they weren't even scanning for threats among the asteroids. When the lead ships reach Marker 7, detonate everything. The asteroids exploded in a chain reaction that turned the entire belt into a storm of flying rocks and metal. The alien ships, caught by surprise, found themselves flying through a cloud of debris, moving at incredible speeds. Sir, shouted the Imperial sensor officer. Multiple impacts on the hull. Shields are holding, but we're taking damage. Zorketh gripped his chair as his ship shook from impacts. How are rocks damaging Imperial armor? The explosions accelerated. The debris to extremely high velocities. We're essentially flying through a high-speed projectile field. 3 alien ships had their shields overloaded by the constant impacts. One had its weapon array damaged. Another lost its communications antenna. Clever primitives, Zorketh admitted grudgingly. But rocks cannot stop the Empire. Continue the advance. That's when Captain Linda Brown and her fighter squadron attacked. 20 small human ships came screaming out of the debris field, moving faster than the aliens thought possible. The fighters were tiny compared to the Imperial vessels, but they were quick and deadly. Target their weapon ports, Brown ordered her pilots. Hit them where it hurts and get out fast. The fighters dove between the alien ships like angry wasps attacking giants. Their small size made them hard to target, and their speed made them nearly impossible to hit. They fired missiles at the weapon systems of the Imperial vessels, then disappeared back into the debris before the aliens could respond. Sir, we've lost weapons on decks 4 through 7, reported an alien technician. Zorketh was starting to feel worried. How are they moving so fast? Unknown, sir. Their ships appear to be using some kind of enhanced propulsion system. What the aliens didn't know was that the human fighters were using modified alien technology. Dr. Roberts' team had studied the Imperial energy systems and found ways to boost human engines beyond their normal limits. The fighters struck again and again, never staying in one place long enough to be destroyed. They were like mosquitoes biting an elephant, individually harmless, but together they were causing real damage. Captain Emma Gray brought the USS Defiant into the battle at maximum speed. Her ship was humanity's most advanced vessel, built with the best technology they could create in just 1 month. "Take us right between those two destroyers," she ordered Lieutenant Baker. "Ma'am, that's suicide," Baker replied, but he was already turning the ship toward the gap between two massive alien vessels. "Maybe, but it's the kind of suicide that wins wars." The Defiant raced between the Imperial ships, firing at both of them as it passed. The alien crews were so surprised by the bold attack that they hesitated before responding. In space combat, hesitation meant death, but the Defiant's luck didn't last. As it emerged from between the destroyers, a third alien ship caught it with a direct hit. The experimental human vessel exploded in a ball of fire. "Captain Gray's ship is gone," reported a communications officer to Admiral Thompson. Thompson closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them with determination. "Her sacrifice bought us time. Make it count." The battle continued to rage through the asteroid field. Human ships darted in and out of the debris, using hit-and-run tactics that frustrated the alien commanders. Every time the Imperial ships tried to form up for a proper battle, the humans would disappear into the rocks and attack from a different direction. Dr. Roberts, watching from the USS Constitution, was studying the alien ships through her sensors. "Alex," she said to Captain Turner, "I've found something. Their ships communicate with each other constantly, sharing targeting data and coordinates. So if we could disrupt those communications, they'd have trouble coordinating their attacks." Technical specialist Roy Edwards had been waiting for this moment. "Doc, I've got just the thing." He activated a program he had been writing for weeks. Virus deployed. Let's see how their computers like a taste of human creativity. Across the Imperial fleet, alien computers began receiving strange signals. The virus didn't destroy their systems, but it filled their communication channels with garbage data. Suddenly, alien ships couldn't talk to each other effectively. "Sir, we're losing communication with the fleet," reported Zorketh's communications officer. "How is that possible?" "Unknown, sir. Our systems are receiving massive amounts of corrupted data. Without good communication, the tight Imperial formations began to fall apart. Ships couldn't coordinate their movements or share targeting information. They started getting in each other's way. That's when the humans played their final card. Captain Nathan Ross had volunteered for the mission that everyone knew was suicide. His ship was damaged and couldn't escape, but it could still move forward. "This is Captain Ross to all units," he broadcast. "Remember us." His ship accelerated directly toward the Imperial flagship, all power diverted to engines. The aliens fired at him, but the damaged human vessel kept coming. "Sir, the human ship is on a collision course," shouted an alien officer. "Destroy it," Zorketh ordered. "We're trying, sir." Their ship is absorbing damage, but not stopping. Ross's ship slammed into the Imperial flagship at tremendous speed. The explosion lit up space like a new star. When the light faded, the flagship was badly damaged and drifting helplessly across the battlefield. Other human captains were making the same choice. Sarah Williams led 3 fighters in a kamikaze attack on an alien destroyer. The small ships couldn't penetrate the armor, but their explosions damaged the ship's engines. The aliens had never faced anything like this. In their 10,000 years of conquest, no species had ever deliberately sacrificed themselves in battle. It was a concept they couldn't understand. "Sir," said Zorketh's second-in-command, "we should withdraw. We've taken heavy damage, and the humans are fighting like madmen. Zor-Keth looked around his damaged bridge. Half his fleet was hurt, his communications were disrupted, and the humans showed no signs of surrendering. Worse, they seemed to be. Getting more dangerous as the battle continued. "Signal the retreat," he ordered reluctantly. "We'll regroup at the edge of the system." As the alien ships limped away from the asteroid field, Admiral Thompson surveyed the battlefield. Humanity had lost 12 ships and hundreds of brave people, but they had also damaged or destroyed 8 Imperial vessels and forced the rest to retreat. High Commander Zephyrian Kolvex stared at the report from Sub-Commander Zor-Keth with disbelief. His perfect record of conquest was broken by primitive humans who fought like wild animals. 50 ships, he muttered to himself. 50 Imperial. Warships defeated by 30 human vessels and flying rocks. His aide, Commander Vexton, stood nervously nearby. "Sir, Sub-Commander Zor-Keth requests reinforcements. He suggests a full fleet assault." Kolvex crushed the report in his clawed hand. "A full fleet? For humans? I will personally lead 500 ships to crush these savages. When I'm finished, their world will be ash, and their species will be extinct." What the High Commander didn't know was that humans had been busy during the first battle. While the Imperial fleet retreated to lick their wounds, humanity's secret agents went to work. Agent Nicole Davis stood in a hidden base on the planet Kepler 442b, deep in Imperial territory. Around her, 30 human operatives prepared for their most dangerous mission. "Remember," she told them, "we've been infiltrating Empire worlds for 3 weeks. We know their supply routes, their communication centers, and their weak points. When the main fleet attacks Earth, we hit them here." The operatives nodded. They were volunteers who had been secretly inserted into Empire territory before the first battle. The aliens thought humans only existed around Earth. They were wrong. On the Imperial supply world of Rigel 7, Agent Marcus Webb posed as a maintenance worker. He had spent weeks learning alien technology and mapping the planet's fuel depots. When the time came, he would ensure that the Empire's fleet would run out of energy far from home. Meanwhile, Colonel Chris Johnson's resistance fighters had spread throughout the galaxy. The Empire controlled thousands of worlds, but they had never faced organized guerrilla warfare. They were about to learn. On Earth, humanity prepared for the coming storm. The first battle had taught them valuable lessons about alien tactics and technology. Now they were using that knowledge to build better defenses. Commander Rick Davis had been working day and night on new weapons. "The aliens' shields can stop energy weapons," he explained to President Moore, "but they're not designed to handle multiple simultaneous impacts from different angles." "What are you suggesting?" Moore asked. "Swarm attacks. Instead of one big missile, we launch 100 small ones that hit the same target from every direction. Their computers can't track that many objects at once." General Susan Blake was training new soldiers using lessons learned from the first battle. "The aliens expect us to fight in formations like traditional armies," she told her troops. "Instead, we'll use small units that appear and disappear without warning." Captain Steve Parker, now commanding the USS Vengeance, was testing humanity's newest secret weapon, ghost drive technology. The system allowed ships to become nearly invisible to alien sensors for short periods. "How long can we stay hidden?" Parker asked Chief Engineer Paul Miller. "About 10 minutes before the drive overheats," Miller replied. "But 10 minutes is enough to get close and do serious damage." The ghost drive was based on alien technology that Dr. Roberts had reverse engineered, but humans had improved it in ways the Empire never imagined. Where aliens saw technology as unchangeable, humans saw it as a starting point for innovation. Captain Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the USS Constitution, watching as Earth's defenses took shape. The planet was surrounded by weapon platforms. minefields, and hidden bases. The moon had been turned into a fortress. Even Mars bristled with new defensive installations. "Think it'll be enough?" asked Dr. Roberts. Turner shrugged. "Against 500 ships? Probably not. But we're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to make them pay such a high price that they'll think twice about messing with humans." Again, the real surprise was what humanity had been building in secret. Commander Frank Lee coordinated the construction of mobile battle platforms throughout the solar system. These weren't ships in the traditional sense. They were floating weapons factories that could appear anywhere and disappear just as quickly. "Aliens think in terms of fixed defenses and predictable tactics," Lee explained to his engineering teams. "They expect us to defend Earth by putting all our weapons around Earth. Instead, we're going to hit them everywhere they don't expect." 3 weeks after the first battle, the Imperial fleet arrived. 500 warships, the largest force the Empire had ever assembled for a single conquest. High Commander Colvex was confident that this time there would be no surprises. "Begin the assault," he ordered from his massive command ship. "Destroy everything human in this system." The alien fleet moved forward in perfect formation, their ships gleaming like metal stars. They expected to find the shattered remnants of human space forces and a planet ready to surrender. Instead, they found that the humans had been busy. As the Imperial fleet entered the outer system, they triggered the first surprise. Hidden platforms throughout the asteroid belt came alive, launching thousands of small missiles at the alien ships. "Sir, we're detecting massive missile launch from multiple locations," reported the Imperial sensor officer. Colvex looked at his displays in confusion. "How many launch sites?" "Unknown, sir. They appear to be mobile platforms that weren't there during our last scan." The missiles swarmed the Imperial ships like angry bees. Each missile was small and weak, but there were thousands of them attacking from every direction. The alien point defense systems, designed to stop large weapons, couldn't track so many. "Small targets. Shields holding, but we're taking minor damage across all decks," reported the damage control officer. Captain Parker's USS Vengeance appeared out of nowhere, ghost drive allowing it to get within point-blank range of an Imperial destroyer. A human ship fired everything it had, then disappeared again before the aliens could respond. "How did they get so close without being detected?" Colvex demanded. "Unknown, sir. They seem to have developed some kind of stealth technology." Across the battlefield, more human ships were using hit-and-run tactics with their new ghost drives. They would appear, attack, and vanish before the aliens could fight back. It was frustrating and deadly, but the real shock came when the Imperial fleet reached the inner system. Earth itself had been transformed into a weapon. "Sir," said the sensor officer, his voice filled with disbelief, "the entire planet appears to be armed." Colvex stared at his screens. Earth was surrounded by orbital defense platforms, each one bristling with weapons. The moon had massive gun emplacements that could destroy a battleship with a single shot. Even small asteroids had been converted into missile launchers. "How is this possible?" he whispered. They had only 1 month. What he didn't understand was that humans could work together in ways the Empire had never seen. When faced with extinction, every person on Earth had contributed to the planet's defense. Factories had worked around the clock. Scientists had shared all their knowledge freely. Even children had helped by taking care of basic tasks so adults could focus on the war effort. The battle for Earth began with a massive exchange of fire. Imperial ships targeted the orbital platforms, while human defenders fired everything they had at the attacking fleet. Space lit up with energy beams, explosions, and the trails of thousands of missiles. But humans had one more surprise ready. As the Imperial fleet engaged Earth's defenses, Agent Davis's teams struck throughout Empire territory, Supply depots exploded. Communication centers went dark. Fuel refineries burst into flames. On Rigel 7, Agent Webb activated the charges he had planted over 3 weeks. The planet's main fuel storage facility disappeared in a mushroom cloud that could be seen from orbit. Throughout the Empire, resistance cells activated simultaneously. They hit targets that seemed unimportant individually, but were crucial to the war effort. The Empire's perfect supply system began to break down. "Sir," reported Colvex's communications officer, "we're receiving distress calls from throughout the Empire. Our supply worlds are under attack." "By whom?" Colvex demanded. "Unknown, sir. The attacks appear to be coordinated, but we have no reports of human ships in those systems." That's when Colvex realized the truth. The humans hadn't just been preparing to defend Earth. They had been preparing to take the war to the Empire itself. "Impossible," he breathed. "How could primitive humans infiltrate our territory without being detected?" The answer was simple, but terrifying. Humans looked different from most alien species, but they were adaptable, with basic disguises and forged identification. Human agents had posed as traders, workers, and refugees throughout Imperial space. The Empire's own size and diversity had worked against them. In the Sol system, the battle was reaching its climax. The Imperial fleet had destroyed many of Earth's orbital defenses, but they had paid a terrible price. Nearly 100 alien ships had been damaged or destroyed by the coordinated human defense. Captain Turner watched from the USS Constitution as another Imperial battleship exploded. "How many have we lost?" he asked. 43 defense platforms, 12 ships, and most of the outer minefields," reported his tactical officer. "But we've taken down 96 enemy vessels." Dr. Roberts looked up from her sensor station. "Alex, I'm reading something strange from the alien fleet. Their formation is breaking down." Turner studied the tactical display. The Imperial ships, which had maintained perfect formation through. High Commander Colvex sat alone in his damaged command center, staring at reports that told the story of the Empire's first major defeat. Half his fleet was disabled, the other half was running out of fuel, and human attacks throughout Imperial territory had crippled their supply network. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "we're receiving another transmission from the humans." "Put it through." Admiral Thompson appeared on the screen again, but this time he wasn't alone. Captain Turner stood beside him, along with Dr. Roberts and several other human officers. Behind them, the bridge of the USS Constitution hummed with quiet efficiency. "High Commander," Thompson said, "my offer stands. Complete withdrawal from human space, recognition of our independence, and a formal apology. In return, we'll allow your surviving ships to return home safely." Colvex's pride warred with reality. The Empire had never surrendered to anyone, but the Empire had also never faced defeat like this. "And if I refuse?" Thompson gestured to Captain Turner, who stepped forward. "Then we continue the war. Our agents throughout your territory will keep attacking your supply lines. Your ships here will run out of fuel and be captured or destroyed. And eventually, we'll start attacking Imperial worlds directly. You wouldn't dare attack our home worlds." Colvex snarled. Dr. Roberts spoke up. "High Commander, we've been studying your technology for weeks now. We understand your ships, your weapons, and your tactics better than you understand ours." "What makes you think we can't take the war to your territory?" The alien leader fell silent. These humans had already proven they could do the impossible. They had turned rocks into weapons, appeared and disappeared at will, and infiltrated the Empire without being detected. Could they really attack Imperial home worlds? "There is another option," Thompson said quietly. "What option?" "Peace. Real peace, not conquest disguised as protection. Humans have never wanted to rule other species. We just want to be left alone to explore the galaxy and make our own choices. Kolvex studied the human faces on his screen. They looked tired and battle-worn, but also determined. These weren't conquerors seeking glory. They were defenders who had been pushed too far. The Empire has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years, he said slowly. And it can continue to rule, Thompson replied. Just not us. There's room in this galaxy for both the Empire and humanity. We don't need to be enemies. Before Kolvex could respond, his sensor officer called out urgently. Sir, we're detecting new ships approaching the system. Human reinforcements? No. Sir, these are Imperial vessels, but... The officer paused, checking his readings. Sir, they're not responding to our hails. And they're flying captured Empire ships. On the main screen, a new face appeared. It was an alien, but not one of Kolvex's officers. This alien wore a simple uniform without Imperial markings, and his expression was calm, but determined. Hi, Commander Kolvex, the alien said. I am Kex Tryon, formerly of the Imperial Third Fleet. I am here to discuss the future of this war. Kolvex stared in shock. Kex Tryon? You were reported killed in action 6 months ago. I was captured by humans during a border skirmish, Kex Tryon replied. I expected torture, execution, or at best, imprisonment until the war ended. What happened instead? The humans gave me medical treatment. They fed me, housed me comfortably, and treated me with respect. They even allowed me to send messages to my family to let them know I was alive. Kolvex couldn't hide his confusion. Why would they do that? Because that's what they do, Kex Tryon said simply. Humans fight fiercely when attacked, but they don't hate their enemies. When I was injured, human doctors worked around the clock to save my life. When I was homesick, human guards shared stories of their own families with me. Captain Turner stepped forward on the human transmission. Kex Tryon volunteered to serve as a liaison between our species. He's not a traitor to the Empire. He's trying to prevent more unnecessary death. The humans could have killed me and my crew, Kex Tryon continued. Instead, they showed us something the Empire has forgotten: mercy. They proved that strength doesn't require cruelty, and victory doesn't require humiliation. Kolvex felt his worldview crumbling. The Empire ruled through fear and overwhelming force. The idea that enemies could be treated with respect was alien to him. Sir, his tactical officer interrupted, we're receiving reports from throughout the fleet. Several of our ships are requesting permission to surrender. Surrender? Kolvex couldn't believe what he was hearing. The humans are offering medical aid to our wounded and repairs to our damaged ships. Some of our captains are saying they'd rather accept human mercy than die for Imperial pride. Admiral Thompson's voice cut through the confusion. High Commander, this war doesn't have to continue. We've proven we can defend ourselves, and you've proven that the Empire is strong. Why not end this before more people die on both sides? Kolvex looked around his bridge at officers who had served the Empire faithfully for decades. For the first time, he saw doubt in their eyes. Not doubt about their loyalty, but doubt about whether this war was worth fighting. What guarantee do I have that humans won't seek revenge for our attack? He asked. None, Thompson admitted. Except our word. And the fact that if we wanted revenge, we'd already be bombing your home worlds, instead of offering you safe passage. Home. The alien commander was silent for several minutes, weighing his options. Finally, he made his decision. Very well, he said quietly. The Empire accepts your terms. We will withdraw from human space and recognize your independence. And? A formal apology? Turner asked. Kolvex closed his eyes. It went against everything he had been taught about Imperial superiority. But his fleet was beaten, his people were dying, and these humans had shown more honor in defeat than the Empire had shown in victory. On behalf of the Galactic Empire, he said slowly, I apologize for the unprovoked attack on your species. We underestimated not just your military capabilities, but your character as a people. Thompson nodded respectfully. Apology accepted, High Commander. Now let's get your people home safely. 6 months later, Admiral Jake Harrison stood on the observation deck of the diplomatic vessel USS Harmony, watching as they approached the Imperial capital world. He had come a long way from the captain who first encountered the Empire's arrogance. Beside him, Ambassador Kyle Martinez reviewed the peace treaty one final time. The document granted humanity full independence, established trade agreements between human and Imperial space, and created protocols for resolving future disputes without warfare. Think it'll last? Martinez asked. Harrison smiled. The Empire learned something important about humanity. We don't start fights, but we finish them. They'll remember that. Dr. Roberts joined them at the observation window. I've been analyzing Imperial technology sharing proposals. They're actually quite generous. I think they genuinely want peace. Why wouldn't they? Harrison replied. They've seen what humans can do when we're pushed too far. Nobody wants to face that again. On the Imperial capital, High Commander Cole Vex prepared to meet the human delegation. The past 6 months had been difficult for the Empire. The war with humanity had cost them greatly, but it had also taught them valuable lessons about underestimating other species. Sir, his aide announced, the human ships are requesting permission to land. Granted, Cole Vex replied. And make sure they receive full diplomatic honors. We owe them that much. As the human delegation disembarked, Cole Vex studied their faces. These were the people who had defeated the Empire's greatest fleet using determination, creativity, and tactics no one had ever seen before. Admiral Harrison, he said, greeting the human leader formally, welcome to the Imperial capital. Thank you, High Commander. We're honored to be here. The honor is ours, Cole Vex replied, and meant it. Your species has earned the respect of the Empire. The peace ceremony was brief but meaningful. President Patricia Moore, attending via hologram from Earth, signed the treaty alongside the Imperial Council. The document established humanity as an equal partner in galactic civilization, not a conquered subject. As the ceremony concluded, Cole Vex approached Admiral Harrison privately. I must ask, the alien leader said quietly, how did your species develop such effective fighting tactics so quickly? Harrison considered the question carefully. High Commander, humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We've learned that the side that adapts fastest usually wins. When you attacked us, we simply applied everything we'd learned from our own history. And the sacrifice tactics? The willingness of your people to die for others? That's not a tactic, Harrison replied. That's just who we are. Humans will die for their families, their friends, their beliefs, and their freedom. It's not something we learned. It's something we've always carried inside us. Cole Vex nodded slowly. The Empire will remember this lesson. We have ruled through fear for too long. Perhaps it's time to learn about ruling through respect. As the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Agent Nicole Davis met secretly with Kextrion and other Imperial officers who had been influenced by human treatment during the war. The resistance networks we built are still in place, she told them. But instead of sabotage, they're now focused on cultural exchange and trade. Humans and aliens working together throughout the galaxy.